All right. Let's see here.
They pull up roll 20.
Previously on Campaign with a Cool Name.
Do you even remember the cool name?
I never named it.
We named it, man. We've been naming it ever since.
What was it? What do you call it?
Do you remember?
No.
Pyro Club Adventures.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah. Let's see here. You arrived in
Giant Town.
Grand Mist Valley, yeah. Giant Town. Well, I mean, like mini Giant Town, really.
I'm a dwarf.
All right, Giant Town. Got the lay of the land. Met up with some old friends of Navix. Participated in a welcome home feast. Watched as a poison ripped through the village.
Yay.
Yep.
Ran around tracking down the cause of the poisoning, which I commend you. I didn't think you guys would sort of solve it in the same night.
Dun dun dun.
But I guess we left off with the party having split, and you kind of have cornered the two people responsible for selling the poison to the perpetrators of the act, although they did it sort of innocently enough. They were just sort of making some extra coin. And I can't remember which person floated the idea. It might have been Nissa, Navik's sister. But she suggested that it was Solesk's fault.
Yes, she did.
For having slain the Great White Bear. Which is sort of a sacred creature to Great Ursa, as you might expect.
No.
But Solesk has an intelligence of 6. And so failed to follow through on that observation. So I think, do you want to pick up from there, I guess? I think it was Caleb, you were alone in the water mill or the water wheel with Hawkeye having kind of coaxed her out of a grain bag.
Yeah.
And what are you doing there?
I believe she was trying to like say that she was going to get killed by her people and she was going to run away. Blah 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 blah. Did she tell me about the others? I can't remember now.
She said that it was only her. She was
That's
the
right.
only one
Yeah,
that did it.
yeah. But she said we, and then she said it was only her. So yeah. And then I did the insight, and I said, well, she said we, so I mean, I kind of have the iffy thought of it being more than just her. I believe I was going to be leaving the grain mill and head back to find the others to give them the information, which they already know. But I don't know that.
Yeah, and if do you just leave her there, or do you try to coax her to follow you?
I'm gonna tell her to either stay in hiding for now until we can kind of inform those in power and try to clear this up. But if she runs, she's just gonna be, she's gonna be dead one way or another if she runs.
She kind of like looks at you. She's got like tear-stained face and like oats and like grains like stuck to it. She's like, "You're right. I have to own up to this. This is my fault." And she crawls out of the grain bag. And she's
How
like,
big was this grain bag?
"Oh, huge. Like imagine like there are no like beasts of burden in Grand Mist Valley really. So a grain bag is basically what a Goliath can carry, which is a lot."
So yeah, you're more than welcome to come back with me. I'm going to meet up with my group with this information, and we can kind of figure out what to do next.
She says, "Okay, but let me. It's important. You have to let me admit my guilt before I'm presented by someone else. I have to be first. I have to own up to it first."
Very well.
So she kind of climbs out, like brushes herself off. She still has, grain all in her hair and stuff, but that'll stay there for now. She kind of moves trepidatiously out of the water wheel and heads to find Chief Landslide. Over in Navik's longhouse, you have Nissa Cragwalker kind of like sort of sitting on one of the bearskin beds and knees up to her chest and like just holding her head going, "Oh, I really fucked up."
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were leaving with her to go to see Father.
Yeah, so we can jump to that. So she's similarly to how Hawkeye kind of treats the situation. She's like, no, I need to. I need to. Well, and she kind of looks at you, Navik.
Yeah.
And Navik, you know what the punishments are for this kind of thing. This is not a tribe that is going to try and get their people off the hook if they have actually sort of done something to harm either the relationship or something with another clan. Grand Mist always owns up to their own faults. They'll fight tooth and nail if they're not at fault. But you expect that if Nista is responsible for this, there's basically three options. She's exiled from the Godspurs and has to spend the rest of her life away from the Leviathans. She can be executed, or she is put into basically service of the Great Ursa clan for 30 years as a laborer or whatever they need.
Even
Seems like a
though
lot.
they did it?
So it depends on how the story comes to your father's ears, right? So Great Ursa will likely claim this is retaliatory. It's just a question as to whether or not the retaliation is punishment enough.
All right.
But yeah, Nissa steps out of the longhouse and starts moving towards the warriors' hall.
I'll ask.
I was still with Navik, right? Or was I?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll ask Dices to send the Raven to look for Caleb.
Okay, and actually, as she kind of sends the Raven out into the night, it's immediately apparent that you can see Caleb sort of walking with another Goliath woman on the opposite side, and you're kind of converging paths.
Hey, one of your classmates.
Yeah, we don't know that. Not yet.
I'm going to assume.
I found this one hiding in the grain mill.
I wasn't hiding. I was milling grain.
Sorry, milling grain.
I look at her and go, from the inside?
You don't know our customs.
Okay. Fair.
And she kind of reads the situation as well, and Nissa and Salya, or I guess Cragwalker and Hawkeye, see each other, and they both understand that they've sort of come to the same conclusion. And they both immediately kind of rush towards each other and start apologizing and telling each other that they're going to take the fall for it, and the other one refuses to let that happen. And it's going on for like 2 minutes or so.
Yep. Let me know when you're done.
Navik, do you intervene in the situation at all?
Damn it. This is annoying.
That's your sister, dude.
Yeah, I know. But also with the honor thing, that's what I'm going on with that.
You know.
Yeah. Honestly, ethics would just let her be exiled. But that's just him, and he does not speak.
Oh,
Surprise, surprise.
we kind of assume that with Ithis. He's already done his good deed for the day by doing a heal earlier.
Yep.
I guess I'll take them to the side. I'll go over to both of them. Be like, what's going on here? Like, what are you here for?
And Salya looks at you. She goes, I'm going to take the fall for this. I sold the Great Ursa the poison that used it against us. I was foolish. It's... just Nissa she's far more useful in the tribe than I am. I can take the fall for this.
Do I know Hawkeye?
You probably know of her. I don't think she's a little younger than you, but she would have like grown up around the same time, maybe like 4 or 5 years younger.
Okay.
You do know that when you had left, she wasn't named yet. So she was just Salya. She didn't have her tribe name yet.
Mm-hmm.
You expect, given what her tribe name turns out to be, that she's probably a scout or something.
Scout or good with a bow?
Possibly. Maybe both.
Mm-hmm. Now, as the son of the chief and a member of the tribe, obviously, how I don't really know what I should do here, honestly.
Yeah, you know, again, so you know what the outcome is going to be. You know that if they're both sort of guilty, there's no like splitting of the punishment. It is sort of equally doled out.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's spread out over a number of people. But the question I guess I would ask you, and potentially what Navik would ask you, is do you believe they are the ones that are at fault?
I don't think so. I don't believe they were the ones at fault. They were duped into it, I would say, by the Great Ursoc tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Ursa,
like bear.
Ursa.
Yeah.
I said Ursoc. That didn't work out. Okay. The Great Ursa clan.
By the Red Sox.
The Red Sox. Okay, we're just gonna name the Red Sox now.
Hey,
Those fucking Red Sox.
the fuck!
They were duped into it by the Red Sox.
Come on, get your hate straight. It's Super Bowl season. Hate the Patriots.
You hate the
Come on.
Patriots? Yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I don't watch football. I don't watch Hand Egg.
Hand egg?
Yeah. You use your hands to pick up an egg ball.
That's clever.
Hand egg ball.
So
Anyways.
I think your sister turns to you and she's like, well, of course they duped us. It's not the point. It's not that we were duped. It's the situation we were duped in. You know, we're not supposed to trade for personal profit, and that's exactly what we were doing. And in this case, it led to the worst possible outcome.
Would you have used that profit for yourself, or would you have used it for the clan?
Nissa kind of like looks at her feet a little bit, and she goes, I don't know. I think I probably would have used it for myself.
Damn.
And she says, there was a trader, one of the Yak folk, a few weeks ago, came by with some really incredible, and she kind of looks around at the party, and she says, elven weapons from far, far away. They were way too expensive. I couldn't afford it, but they said they'd be back.
So you would have bought in these weapons with the money?
I think I probably would have, yeah.
Wouldn't that have helped the clan?
Well, I mean, I guess indirectly. And you know that Nissa is a member of the, or at least in training to be...
A monk. You
yeah.
said a monk.
And in particular, one of the sort of, I don't want to call them spies, but basically like solo agents used to sort of gather intelligence and things like that.
Sounds like a spy to me.
It's not necessarily like as information gathery though. It's just sort of like it's sort of like a combat ready diplomat.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So sort of like an ambassador that is weapon trained.
Yeah, sure.
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
All right. I reason so even if you were going to, when you got these weapons, it would have helped the clan be have more strength because of better weapons.
Yeah,
Remember.
I think so, yeah. I guess you could reason that. I think it's a tough sell, but we could try. I'm not terrible with with spinning words. I could give it a shot.
I look over at Minchinos.
Mm-hmm. What? Sorry?
Were you not paying attention?
No, it's half paying attention. Well, I was letting you talk with your sister, because you guys went off to the side.
No, we were. Well, they converged in the middle, and
Ah, okay. I
We
thought they
were-
were more off to the side.
I think we were just around them, and they just converged in the middle. Then I went a little forward.
Oh,
You-
okay. I thought you had said you'd pull them aside. All right. I think that's. You're gonna tell your father this?
If we need, if we need more convincing, could you assist?
Sure.
And I look at Nissa and I'd be like, I know who you are on the inside. I know that if you had gotten this money, you would have, when you got this money, you would have made the clan stronger for getting better weapons.
She seems unconvinced, but she seems willing to at least yield to the possibility that you're right.
I mean, how
And
much
then-
money was this?
She looks over at Hawkeye and she says, between the two of us, 150 gold.
And what's stopping you from collecting it now?
The gold?
Yeah.
Well,
I
we
mean-
still-
Why don't we go to collect and get the person you're collecting from?
well, we've already been paid.
Oh, you have. I see. I
Yeah.
misunderstood.
It's just the trader for the weapon said
Mm.
they would come back.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And then Nissa kind of looks at her feet a little bit. She's like, I probably would have bought some Bellbuck smoke water too. But most of it would have been for the weapon.
I mean, I could have given you some of that. I've got some right here. So, but
Did you get extra smoke water?
yeah, we have an extra bottle.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that. That's all right though.
Well, there's a reason we don't remember some of the things that happened that night. Some pretty good smoke water.
All right. So, let us go to father then.
All right. She kind of steels herself. She kind of rolls her shoulders, and you can just hear like the thick muscle sinew kind of snapping and cracking. And she like walks up the steps with Hawkeye in tow, and the two of them sort of take point. The hall has since cleared. There are sort of spilled flagons and tankards sort of all over the tables and half-finished meals. Whoever was sick has already been removed here, and sort of sitting at the head table in this grand hall is an absolute mountain of a man. Your father, Nagan Landslide, and he's being briefed by one of the seers, an older Goliath woman in like long furs that drape down to the floor. Her hair is kind of beaded and braided all the way down to her waist. And you guys enter. Nissa and Hawkeye sort of approach the table where he's sitting. They wait for the seer to finish sort of relaying whatever message she was giving, and then she sort of fades back into the dark in the back room. And Landslide sort of looks up to address his daughter and tribeswoman. And he says, "What have you learned?" And Hawkeye and Nissa kind of look at each other, and they say,
1 second.
Yeah.
Would I know that if I go up there with them, would it help or deter?
It depends. If you're just there to support, like just as a presence, because you never even really got the opportunity to say hello yet to your father, right? You
Mhm.
kind of arrived just prior to the poison sort of taking hold.
Yeah, and then no, actually he arrived after. Oh, yeah, after the poison
After
took
it, yeah.
hold.
So he kind of
Did
rushed
they-
into the hall, and it was like already chaos.
All right, yeah, I'll move up with him.
So you
With-
stand with your sister?
Yep.
All right.
I stand
Uh,
back a little bit, but off to the side.
Sure. Where are the others during this?
I am here, but trying not very hard to adhere to the traditions. Not like I'm outright disobeying, but I'm like, just kind of like looking impatient and
Mhm.
not.
And Caleb?
I am. I would probably say I'm like pacing, kind of.
Yeah.
After getting briefed by the others of the Ursa clan, causing this and that, I kind of want to head that direction.
Right.
Yeah, well, I do too, but family.
Oh, I know.
So Landslide says, "What have you learned?" And Nissa, she says she kind of shares a glance, and Navik kind of steps up to her side, and you can sense that your father has like taken notice that you have arrived, but he doesn't break eye contact with your sister. And she says, "I know where the poison came from." And Landslide says, "Who? Splinter Pine?" And he almost seems ready to pin it on them. And she says, "No. It was me." And he kind of furrows this like massive eyebrow, this unibrow kind of just tufty, massive fur above his eyes, and he says, "What?" And she says, "I sold the poison to the perpetrator. It was Great Ursa. But they acted in retaliation." And he says, "You sold them the weapon that killed 3 of our tribesmen?" And she says, "Yes, but not for that purpose."
How is this longhouse lit?
You're in a hall at the moment, so imagine
Yeah.
imagine a
So-
tribal Harry Potter feast hall.
So it's more torches and things like that. It's
Yeah.
not windows or
No,
that
there's
sort
like
of
a
thing.
big central fire pit, and then the
Mhm.
rest is just individual torches on tables and things like that.
Okay.
It's just barely above dimly lit.
Okay.
So Landslide seems utterly sort of confused at this new information, and he Navik, you can see sort of a vein in his forehead just swell, and he looks to Hawkeye, and he says, "And you?" And she jumps in immediately, and she's like, "I am also complicit in this." And then he turns and he looks at Navik for the first time, and he says, "And you?"
I am here to support my family.
He turns back to Nissa, and he says, "So Great Ursa was provided a poison made by you to poison our people. Why?" And Nissa kind of, you can see her sort of catch the words in her throat, and she looks to Hawkeye, and Hawkeye doesn't say anything. And Landslide says, "Why?"
So I'll step forward and sort of thaumaturgy things and make the light even dimmer for a moment and then bright. Say, Lord Landslide, if I may, I came with your son Navik here, and I think I might be able to shed a little light on this. And as soon as I say this, I make it even brighter. Your daughter and her friend here were doing what they thought was good for the tribe, not understanding the purpose for the poison, the purpose for the sale. She had her heart in the right place to make you proud and make your tribe stronger in your struggles. And she was duped by deceptive people, and I know a little bit about that, and I can tell you it's pretty easy. So I don't think you want to blame these two for having the tribe's best interest at heart and trying to strengthen the tribe, but being taken in by duplicitous Ursa clan.
He kind of scans the room. Go ahead and give me a persuasion check.
Oh yeah.
But disadvantaged because you were.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
I think you'll probably still do all right. Yep.
Yeah. All right. I guess we'll do all right there. Considering one was a 9.
He kind of hears your words, although he doesn't outwardly sort of show any leaning. You're pretty sure you see the vein in his forehead recede a little bit, and he looks to the girls and he says, "While I wouldn't put poisoning past Great Ursa, they are not known for their, well, acts such as this. This had to have been triggered by something, unless they wish to be official rivals."
Well, yeah, about that. There may have been an inadvertent killing of one of their sacred animals.
Which one?
It was the white bear. You know, it happens.
No, it does not. That is what makes them sacred.
It was I'm sure it was an accident. I'm pretty sure that the person who did it would not have knowingly killed a sacred animal like that.
His eyes turn back to Nissa, and he says, "You slew the great white bear?"
Oh, no.
She's shaking her head as well.
Although, I bet she could. Bet she could have. She's pretty badass. No, this was done by someone who very
Splinter
well
Pine?
meaning. Nope. Although I'd be totally down for that because I would love to sell the popcorn concession for that battle. But no, someone who also well-meaning, but let's just say the torch isn't really flaming strongly with this one. And I sort of gesture over to if is he in the room actually?
Make a quick perception check.
I have no idea.
That's very quick.
You all look the same to me. I don't know. With all your furs and things and your tattoos, I don't know. But
would he be in the room?
You don't see him.
Okay.
But our buddy Two Toes.
Two Toes?
Well, what is he up to? Is he 3, 4, 2? I can't even keep track of how many toes he has anymore.
He kind of his Landslide's face immediately stops being imposing leader and turns into dad at the end of his rope. And he kind of puts his hand on his forehead, and he's like, 2 toes. He actually has 7. He can't count.
Oh, fuck.
So okay, so you understand where I'm coming from when I'm saying the elk doesn't have many antler points there with that one.
He gestures something to one of the Goliath guards in the back, and they immediately rush out of the hall, presumably to go and find Solisk.
I changed my note a little bit.
I walk over towards Navik for a minute and said, "So, what's the chances of diplomacy here?"
I wouldn't say it's very good.
Okay, cool. So I turn back around and I say, I'm an outsider. I'm new to the ways. I'm eagerly learning from your son here, who has been a stunning example of Goliathness. Maybe as an outsider, though, my friends and I might be able to help diffuse this situation a little bit. What if we were to talk to the Urses and say, hey, it was dumb. The guy who did it, pretty dumb. Wasn't intentional by the tribe to do it, and avoid more bloodshed.
Could we not just hand Solesk over?
I mean, we could. But, the poor four-toed bastard,
Yeah, but it's the quickest
I-
resolution.
He has
Even-
7 toes.
Even I feel bad giving Corky over. I mean,
He has 7 toes.
never mind. It's, apparently an American-only joke.
That was more in character, but yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm trying here a little bit.
So Landslide says, so let me get this straight.
Hmm.
Solesk slays the Great White Bear.
Mm-hmm.
The Druids learn of this, and they seek out my daughter and her friend to purchase poisons that they could make themselves.
I mean,
Oh,
that
wait a
is the
second.
weird thing.
Wait a
Oh.
second.
Mm-hmm.
Out of game. Out of top. Whatever.
Mhm.
Out of character. When I saw the bear strung up, how long ago would it have been up there for?
It was in like a bloodletting kind of pose, so probably for a bear like that, it's probably been up there for a few days.
All right. When? Okay, go back to in-game. You were going to say something, Machinas.
I'm just gonna say I'll be honest, it does sound a little weird. It seems a little far-fetched, which is why I'm kind of thinking maybe we should have some chats first, because you said yourself this is not like the other Goliath tribes to do this sort of thing.
Well, not all of them.
Well, how about the Ursus? Is that kind of thing to do?
No, they are typically a spiritual group. They're not often aggressors, but I can understand their action under these circumstances. My question
Well,
remains.
Who would benefit if you and the Ursus went to war? Let me guess. Splinter Pine?
They may.
Okay. I'm just curious to see, maybe there's more to this than is obvious.
Landslide calls forward another sort of Goliath out of the dark, and he kind of comes rushing over. You can see that this guy is like ready to trek. Like he's already like layered in like furs head to toe. He looks like a bear. Like he's already huge, and he's got like enough layers to basically be his own campsite. And landslide sort of takes a moment, whispers something to him, and the guy just takes off at like a surprising pace. Nevik, this is obviously one of the clan messengers. They can basically run to each peak in a night. And you expect he's been dispatched to either Great Ursa or someone else in the Godspurs.
I'm not going to presume to tell you what to do or even advise you, but I'm offering our services and just saying maybe we should not rush to any harsh judgment right away that might play into somebody else's hands.
He looks over at the strange tiefling, at least in these lands, and he says, "You speak wise words for an outsider."
I'm pretty great that way, I admit it. But I've also seen a lot, and I've seen what your son can do and did do as we waded through hundreds of slod in a massive battle. And as much as I enjoyed watching that, I think it's probably something to avoid right now.
I don't know what a slot is, but
Oh, it's a big frog thing. It's pretty great, and it shoots fireballs. It's awesome.
Well, we will catch up.
He also killed a big dragon, a skeleton dragon.
He seems a little more confused now.
It was pretty great with a trophy.
And you hear sort of some scuffling from behind you as two guards are sort of walking Solesk into the hall, and you can see that Solesk is basically like white as a ghost, and like sweating profusely, and he's got like this gross stain all down the front of his hides, armor and stuff like that, and it looks like either he is like incredibly nervous, or he was poisoned. Could be either at this point. Mom spaghetti.
Why not both?
I'll give a quick question to Nissa. When did they start buying the...
2 weeks ago?
2
Dun,
weeks?
dun. I make a thunderclap with prestidigitation. Dramatic thunder.
They started buying the stuff 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, that's when we started selling it.
That's odd.
Solesk is like brought up to the front. You can see his eyes are like bloodshot. He even looks a little bit out of it. He's kind of like swaying back and forth. Who has the highest perception in this room?
Probably Dices.
Yeah.
Is
Isn't
she
her
in the hall?
passive wisdom like 30 something?
Oh yeah,
Like
probably.
93. No, it's not.
Yeah,
know
she was with
all.
us.
Okay, yeah. So, Dice is underneath the furs, kind of just barely peeking up over Solesk's fur collar. You can see, if you remember from last time, that sort of like decaying blackening of the skin that was like affecting all the people who were poisoned. You can see that peeking up underneath the collar of Solesk.
Lovely. All right, well, I'm like, Solesk.
He hears his voice, but he can't pin the direction, so he just starts looking around.
I'm going to step forward and go, someone might need to see to him.
As you say that, he collapses.
Now they're going to think it's me. I'm sitting in the background just petting this raven. And then I come out of the shadows. Someone
God.
should see to him, and he just collapses. I'm like, and I'm just gonna slide back like I'm on like a hovercraft, just whoosh, back into the shadow.
So you're just going to sound like Blofelded out instead of a cat. You have a raven.
Yeah.
So yeah, as Solisk collapses to the ground and he kind of like splays his arms open, you can see as the furs sort of fall away from his chest a little bit, you can see that the skin all up his chest and like moving to his neck is completely black.
Oh, that's not good. Do we have a
Nope.
medic?
Here,
Medic.
here.
Medic.
So
Huh.
last time, Victor, just so you know, the things that were useful, so lesser restoration slowed the spread, but didn't seem to stop it.
All right.
Healing was able to bring people back to consciousness, but also not stop the actual spread. Cure disease, or like cure poison. Was that was what Caleb did, right?
No, he did
I
a
did lay on
lesser
hands.
restoration. or
Yeah, you did
land.
a 5-point lay on hands. That's to remove a condition, basically.
Yeah,
right?
remove a condition.
And-
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
lesser restoration or something.
Yeah,
That too.
that stopped the spread, but again, didn't cure it. So
I
those
don't
are
have that.
Sort of the things that have been done.
I don't have that prepared.
I don't think you need to. I don't think clerics need to have stuff prepared, or do they?
You do.
I'm pretty
They
sure
do,
they
yeah.
do.
Yeah, yeah.
oh,
yeah.
right. They have to have it prepared, but
They
they
can
know
cast
all of them.
Like druid. Yeah.
That's right.
You just
Okay.
have to have. Well, Solesk, I am sorry, but there's nothing I can do for you.
Bubbles come out of his mouth.
That's
Picture
the
just,
okay.
like big, like when you blow bubbles. I picture like cute, just like. Boop, boop.
Yeah. Boop, boop, boop.
Look, my friends, there's. I'm sorry, but I did not anticipate what we would. Probably I should have, but I didn't anticipate there would be more points. I thought I didn't. How big could?
Well, it's
this
only been the
village
same.
be?
It's all been the same day.
Has so then how did
It's
you
only been like
cast
a
it?
couple hours.
How did you cast it then?
No, you only cast mass healing word
Oh, okay,
and then a cure wounds on somebody.
gotcha. All right, cleric, this may fall to you. I mean, paladin. Sorry, paladin. This may fall to you. I'm not.
Physician, heal thyself.
Look, I don't care what you are. Just heal.
Damn.
I can only do so much.
So, well, it
You
will
can bring
take.
him back from unconscious. The cure brought him back from unconscious.
I will do what I can. Just a second.
And you said the lesser restoration works as well, right?
The lesser restoration seemed to slow the spread.
Okay, so it didn't stop.
It didn't
Wow.
stop it though.
That's a pretty good roll.
I wish I had that kind of healing back when we were actually in like.
Damn.
5 and 2 8s.
That's a hell of a. That was at 4th level.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty good. The spread of the sort of decaying skin doesn't stop, but you see clarity sort of come back to Solesk's eyes, and he starts breathing again. For those people who are sort of trained in medicine, I can explain what is happening sort of mechanically so that you're aware. Basically, the condition, whatever it is, that's slowly taking over their body is causing damage. But you can heal them back up so they sort of regain consciousness, but the condition still spreads, so then they immediately start losing hit points again. Until presumably they completely decay and then they die.
You can question him. I'll keep him alive as long as I can.
So it's flesh-eating strep.
Yes.
You may question him. I will keep him alive as long as I can.
So Solus kind of sits up, but he doesn't seem to have the strength at the moment to stand. And Landslide kind of looks over the table. He says, 3 toes. I'm 7. Solesk. Tell me about the bear that you slew. The great white bear. When? He kind of looks up and he's like, the white bear 4 days ago. We went on a hunting trip and I spotted it. And it was huge. And I wanted to challenge myself. And Landslide just kind of like sort of pinches the bridge of his nose and closes his eyes. And he goes, and you never thought to think, wow, I've never seen one of these before. It must be special. Solus
I
is
pinched
like,
my bridge in the nose.
Solus says, no, I guess I hadn't seen one before. And put up quite a fight. But I slew it. It was a sign that our chosen one was coming home. Of course, we had to celebrate. It was a perfect timing. It couldn't have been better. The Hordebreaker has returned. He deserves to feast upon the largest creatures of the mountains. Landslide's like, he just pauses for a moment and he goes, that was very kind and stupid.
Let
and
me
then-
know. Let me know when you like me.
Yeah,
to
you
end
bought
him.
them quite a bit of time, actually, probably like half an hour.
No, let me know when you would like me to end him.
Oh,
When
Wow.
I pinched my bridge in the nose again.
Yeah, I'm sort of face palming and going, what?
you pinch your noses off.
Oh,
No. Um, so you say that to Landslide?
yes,
Okay.
there's no
he
point in letting him suffer.
he says he may very well have ended himself. And Landslide will sit back in his chair and he kind of begins to think. He's like, so our tribe is responsible for the slaughter of a sacred animal that has lived for 600 years, perhaps.
Are
And
the great Ursas? Forgive me for interrupting, and I'm really want to know more about the culture and your ways. Do the great Ursas have oracles? Can they tell the future?
they have soothsayers, yes. Many tribes do. We have our own seers.
Interesting, because that would explain why they were trying to buy poison like a week and a half before Solus killed the bear. Okay, that explains it then.
You think they foresaw this?
Well, I'm just trying to figure out how they were buying poison from
Or
your
why?
daughter here, or why they were buying it 2 weeks before today, and Solus killed the bear 4 days ago.
As you say that, he kind of like furrows his brow again and he goes, that's true. Nissa, who again were you selling this to? He says, she goes, just the druids, they were scouts. They saw us picking the herbs and asked what they were for. And he's like, a druid asked you what an herb was for. And you can see her like face sort of like realize kind of like the misstep. And she kind of hangs her head a little lower.
Nah, I'm just a simple country tiefling. Ooh,
All right,
seed.
Matlock, bring it home.
So I'm just wondering, there's something else going on here that I'm pretty sure somebody's trying to get you and the Great Ursa tribe to go to war. And I'll bet the Great Ursa tribe might not even know that their bear is dead. Somebody's playing you.
He kind of slams his fist on the table. And he goes, "Splinter Pine."
I mean, sure. Oh, let's well, not smash the table, but let's table that particular one for a minute. But Navik, I honestly think let's take this to a nice, quieter area, a little more private, and discuss this a little more outside of, and not take everybody's time and make them all listen to all of this. Trying to sort of subtly get everybody private where spying eyes aren't going to hear and see.
Sure. So do you want to seclude just you guys, or do you want Landslide to be there?
Landslide. I think I'm trying to get Landslide to do this. I'm trying to
Yeah. So
lead
he can lead you to basically the chief's sort of like house. It's sort of like it's like a miniature version of the Great Hall, basically. And it's sort of a private sort of governing house. And he kind of makes his way around the side of a large circular sort of war table. Goes to the back of the room, pours some strange liquid out of a big furry keg, and kind of swigs it back, and he goes, "So what's the next step?"
What's in the keg?
And he goes, "Oh, mountain milk. Do you want some?"
I am curious as to your ways. Yes, I will try some.
I'm pretty sure I've had melted milk before.
Oh yeah.
And,
Are you going to let this happen?
and what do I think of mountain milk?
Well, I'll explain it to you, and
Okay.
you can tell me
Yeah.
what you think of mountain milk. So it is a pretty typical long shelf life liqueur, fairly strong, but not it's not hard liquor. Obviously, if it's a liqueur, but and it's basically woolly mammoth milk, and distilled moonshine mixed together with some spices and things like that.
So it's a White Russian.
It's basically a White Russian, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I'll grab a mug.
Dices would be all over that.
Yeah, he'll pour some around.
All right. Sounds good.
So he says, "Okay, so the druids, you don't think they're responsible for the poisoning, or at least not the tribe?"
Well, you said yourself, this poison was made by your alchemist and his students. But I mean, I'm not an expert in the druids, but yeah, it does seem like that isn't something they'd have to have somebody else do.
That's true. Somebody, and he'll say to nobody in particular, but he says, "Somebody go get Pestlefist." That was the alchemist you met the other day, or earlier in the night, I guess.
All right.
I'm looking around.
If there's no one else in the room, so I'll just go.
Okay, so you take off. You can be back in a couple minutes.
Yeah, I got this, Navik. Trust me, it's fine.
So he'll just in the intervening time he'll say, so the girls were selling this concoction, whatever it was. What is this stuff?
Oh shoot, what was it called?
It was made of frost hyssop,
Frost hyssop and something else. Shoot,
but it was,
I don't
or at
know.
least what the alchemist had told you earlier, was that it was
Yeah.
basically used to keep yourself cool in hot climates.
Okay.
But you wouldn't imagine that it would cause the reaction that it's causing.
Yeah. No. So it's a little more potent than it sounds like they meant it to be. It's like it's the hand warmer gel, or the opposite.
Yeah,
The air
it's basically
conditioning
the
gel.
opposite of the hand warm gel.
Okay. The hand
Um,
cool gel.
Yeah. Navik, you return with Pestle Fist. He's just like, yes. What have you found?
So, Mr. Pacifist,
Where were you on the night?
walk me through this. Wait, let me do a Columbo voice.
One more thing.
One more thing before we get going. My wife is a big fan. You were saying something about the salve wouldn't be a poison like this, right?
Not from what I've seen over there, no. That is a much... I mean, if you want my opinion, I think what I've seen is frostbite. But like a spreading frostbite.
So, but the salve you make, it's not like a secret recipe, right?
No, it's quite simple. I mean, we teach
So-
it to our...
Would you say, like, for example, your fellow Goliath, the druids over at Clan Ursa, they'd probably know how to make that pretty easily, right?
Oh yes, I expect they're making that as by the time they're 6.
Right. So they wouldn't have to go buy some of it to make poison to use, right?
Certainly not.
Yeah, I didn't think so. And no further questions. You're a witness. I'll go sip a
Landslide,
little
the
more.
bridge of my nose.
I'm gonna
Landslide just witness.
I'm gonna sip a little mountain milk.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
It's tough on the stomach.
So who would... This is Landslide speaking. He says, so who would purchase it? Or at least... Why would they purchase it? If it doesn't do this, is this just to... Is this to create a red herring? Or did they change it in some way?
So I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at Nissa, and I'm looking at Navik. Like, that's your dad? It's pretty good. Yeah, red herring. Just a little surprised.
He says, he's like, Nissa, the salve that you made, was it exactly to Pestlefist's specifications? And she says, yes. I mean, I passed the test. I was able to duplicate it on multiple occasions. I'm quite sure it couldn't do that. He says,
So we're pretty sure the poison was in the bear stew, right? I'm sorry, this is out of character. That's what we decided.
yeah, you at least you found sort of traces of frost hyssop sort of in and around the pot.
Okay, and there were leaves on the prep station.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying. I can't find the note I had, so sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So it wasn't the. Wait a minute. It wasn't the salve in the stew. We didn't see the salve. We saw the frost hyssop leaves.
You have these leaves?
Yeah, actually, I put them in a vial. So I hand them over. We found these in the kitchen near the stew, and there's also the stew vial.
So do you hand them to the alchemist?
Well, I show them to Landslide first.
Sure. He's kind of looking at them, but you can
Yeah,
like
and it's like, let's let the expert take a chance.
Yeah.
Here.
he's like
So
he identifies the frost hyssop, but he can't make
Yeah.
he
But
hands
that's the
them
stew.
over.
Don't drink the stew. Don't drink the stew.
I think we already went over this. Was anybody proficient in herbalism?
I'm pretty sure we're not.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Was anybody proficient in nature?
I am.
Yeah.
Dice
And
is
Dice
pretty-
still is?
I think
Or not.
so.
I might be.
And also, is anyone proficient in animal handling?
No.
Oh, I totally am. No,
That's
I'm
why I
not.
keep failing with boo.
I am. I'm so proficient in animal handling.
Are you okay? And you have nature as well?
I do, yes.
Oh, okay. So you can, we'll say you can kind of see as the alchemist is kind of examining the little vial of stew and the little vial of like leaves and things like that. And I'm going to get you to make both a nature and an animal handling check,
Oh gosh.
and I'm going to add the results together to hit a DC.
Okay.
Pretty good.
With advantage, right? It was with advantage.
Yeah, it was totally yes. Within
So you spot something particularly on the leaves in the vial.
Okay.
That's kind of curious. Do you want to grab it and look closer?
yes, I would.
Give me a perception check.
Nice.
As you're looking at these leftover leaves and things like that, you can see what are unmistakably, to your eye at least, either a rodent or a weasel has chewed the stem off these leaves. They weren't cut like with a knife. Either like maybe not a rat, but like maybe some sort of like a stoat or something like that. Whatever trimmed these plants was done with small rodent teeth, not with like tools.
Interesting. Well, I'll relay that information to the group. And be like, oh, weasel. Minchinos, why are you chewing on stuff? I'm just gonna grin.
I'm not even gonna dignify it beyond the sigh.
The alchemist kind of looks at them again. He's like, "How can you tell?"
In a previous life, I spent a lot of time in the woods, and I do know my animals.
Remember, you're
In-
still a
in
blonde
many
bimbo
ways.
right now.
Yeah, so in a previous life, it works.
Humans can be rangers.
Mm-hmm. That's the new thing they just implemented.
Here's a patch.
Yeah, there was an update. Did you read the patch notes?
Let's just say she knows her animals.
Yes, I can handle them.
So Landslide will say, so Nissa sold druids the salves, but the salves couldn't have done this. The Great Bear was slain. The druids came back and poisoned the stew
With rats.
with rats.
Hmm.
He kind of looks around. He's like, that's the story we're going with?
Does seem a little implausible, doesn't it?
I shrug.
Landslide says, perhaps we've done what we can for tonight. The messenger has been dispatched to Great Ursa. Perhaps I sent them prematurely.
What's the message?
Well, the message was implied that they would know of the situation. I just requested a council.
Okay.
Hopefully the messenger knows to only deliver the message.
Cool.
Yes. Cool.
We'll get you talking like a flatlander in no time.
He says, well, for the meantime, head back to the longhouse, get some rest. We'll examine this again in the morning.
Yeah.
Indeed.
All right.
Very well.
I'm gonna take my mug with me if he's cool with that, because I'm
Yep.
still working on this.
I'm guessing Hawkeye and Nissa are still with us?
Yeah.
Okay. I usher those two out.
Yeah, and Solesk has been like brought back to the medical area. It's being treated. At some point, when you guys get back to the longhouse, there are a couple of seers, sort of like elders, sort of hanging out outside of your home, and they are looking kind of around, and they go, "Ah, yes, those two," and they point at the dwarf and the bird.
What?
Before this,
Yep.
when we left the lodge, I'll just give a hug to Nissa.
She says, I'm confused enough that I no longer know if I should feel guilt."
I
No,
just
no,
pat
run
her
with
head.
it. Run with it. Run
I
with
pat
it.
her head.
She's
And
like-
I'll do the same to Hawkeye.
Yeah. They both seem to think that this is too complicated for clan life. They're not quite sure about this sort of political espionage kind of thing. More so Hawkeye, but
I'll also pat her head as well. There.
And while we're resting, I'm going to be practicing the thaumaturgy to make the Law and Order dung dung sound.
All right, so the sages are outside our longhouse for
yeah, and they are looking for the small healers.
the dwarf and the bird.
The Dwarf and the Bird. I feel like there's a sitcom going to be released coming this fall.
Yeah, good.
The Dwarf and the Bird.
That would be
Basically
the
Mork
best
and
odd. That would be the best odd couple spinoff ever.
It's true.
Well, at first I thought it was the dwarf and the raven.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be weird. I'm like, where's my raven? They're off like making out in a corner. I'm like, whoa, whoa.
Oh god,
Murder.
oh god, oh god.
My
Can't unsee, can't unsee.
So yeah, this is your big chance to go heal and become like this super healing hero.
Oh boy.
Yeah, the elders are in fairly broken common, like very weak common, are basically attempting to request your sort of healing abilities to help with some of the people who are poisoned.
Very well.
May as well.
I'm gonna at least try and keep them alive. I don't have lesser restoration prepared still.
Okay.
Well, that's what nap
have-
time is for.
So we've come to the conclusion that the freezing effect is just a creeping frost bite, not necessarily killing them, right?
You think that it is ultimately killing them, but there's definitely something else going on. Somebody from the healers, and I guess anyone proficient in Arcana as well, give me Arcana with advantage.
That's where I'm a Viking. Boom!
Your lowest is my highest.
Your chocolate's in my peanut butter.
Ithis, yours was the 12 there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Nom nom.
So I think, there's been probably side talk happening throughout the night. I think between the three of you, you are, you're fairly certain that one, there is, the frost hyssop is definitely being used as sort of the catalyzing agent, the main effect, but it's being amplified by something magical. You think that it may be a curse.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't really stuff that I've ever dealt with before. And I'd rather not, given the opportunity, but
But think of the potential for being such a great giving person.
yes, because that's always been a driving force for me.
Would any of my baubles be able to remove curses?
Oh, Jesus, no, not the beads. God damn it.
Try
Yeah,
the
yeah,
orange
I mean-
ones.
Yeah,
mean,
basically
technically-
in a flash, you could remove all of the what else them.
I was gonna say technically yes.
What was you're talking about, like the little
The
bag?
bag of baubles.
Let me read what I wrote about that. Pull out a non-magical item.
Oh, non-magical. Damn.
Yeah.
So can you guys remove curses, or just give them, or just laugh at them?
All of the
Cool. I can cauterize things.
Well, tonight I will prepare the spell to cure these as best I can, at least. Honestly, though, they're barbarians.
So, what time of the day is it?
It's probably like midnight now.
Okay. I will do what I can with what I have left in terms of spell power and
Yep.
head to bed. And in doing so, I will switch over, for lack of a more magical word, to remove curse.
Okay.
I'm gonna grab another mug of that mountain milk and then go to bed.
Yeah, you can find it in the longhouse,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
Sit in front of the fire, play games in the fire, do a little play with the fire.
I guess that's Minchino's way, yeah. People are dying around him, and he's like, yeah, drinking and partying.
I mean, I'm helping. I did my part. I can't heal. You guys are the big healer heroes now. You and Trapper John.
Yeah, I was going to spend most of my night try to help in the medical lodge to do something.
Okay.
Anything I could.
Give me some medicine check.
Yeah.
Trapper
And it
John.
keeps going.
I don't understand. defies the law of averages at this point.
Well, at least it wasn't a natural 20 this time. We can all agree that's the outlier. It's not the natural 20 this time.
So throughout the sort of small hours of the night, Ithis and Caleb basically expend what magical power they have left in them, and then Navik, you are attempting to. Conventional medicine isn't really helping here very much, except to sort of like keep them comfortable. But at one point in the night, somebody rushes one of the seers, one of the elders, into the tent. They have fallen, like just collapsed, and they're not breathing. And you manage to, you just kind of make your way over to them, and you manage to resuscitate them within like a minute, and save the elder's life.
Yay!
Actually, are there in this longhouse area? This is kind of a common area. Are there people still milling around at this hour, or has everybody pretty much gone to bed?
Yeah. Do you remember sort of the old guy that you met when you first got there?
Yeah.
He's basically still up. It seems like he might be a bit of a night hawk himself. Just kind of sitting in his big chair.
Does he have a drink in his hand?
He probably does. Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna go over, sit down while I'm messing with the fire, and sort of strike up a conversation and see if I can just sort of talk to him a bit. Does he strike me as the type that would probably be one of those people that just sort of sees everything that goes on, like the Mrs. Harris in my old neighborhood who always watched all the neighbors?
He might be at the very least. You think he's sort of like when it's not like super cold outside, he probably even like brings the chair outside.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So he's the guy. He's the guy sitting out in front of the gas station.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I just sort of like, yeah, it's some interesting dealings today, eh?
Yep. I haven't seen poisoning in, well, not since. Well, actually, Solesk once tried to make a feast by himself. There was a poisoning then too, but
that wasn't a deliberate poisoning. That was just Solesk.
That's yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. When was the last time?
What
happened
boy
the
ain't
last
right.
time? Nah, he's good heart, not much in the brain though. Last time it happened though, what was the story behind that? That's kind of interesting. It was a long time ago.
Long time ago. Just didn't prepare them well. The meat was bad, but
oh, I thought it was like there was another poisoning, like a deliberate thing or something.
No. He can catch them. He doesn't quite know what to do with them after that.
Oh, I didn't mean Solesk. You said there was one long ago.
Poisoning?
Yeah.
Oh, he was referring to that event.
Oh, he was. Okay.
But in terms of this sort of size, he's never seen anything.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a really great place. You guys don't get many outsiders coming in, huh?
Occasionally we get some. Some of the yak folk will come by, the goat folk, the giants.
And have there been a lot lately, or just sort of us and?
Well, I don't go out to the gate very often, but I do strike up conversations with the scouts.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I know a little bit about the come-ins and goings.
Yeah. Any of the so have there been a bunch? Is this like the busy tourist season, or?
It's been busier than normal. Yeah.
A lot of the other tribes too coming and going.
Well, since we're planning the witnessing, the Hordebreaker trials, there's been a lot more meetings lately. Yeah.
So what's the Hordebreaker trials? Are those just just for this tribe? Do other tribes get involved? Is like a competition? Navik told me a little, but I didn't catch it. And then Solesk started talking, and we all just sort of glazed over and started drinking.
He's like, oh yeah, everyone's involved in that. I mean, one tribe usually starts it. They
Mhm.
say, oh, we've prophesized the Horde Breaker, blah blah blah, and they announce it to the rest of the tribes, and then of course every other tribe suddenly prophesizes that their member is the Horde Breaker, and so then we have a tournament to see who's right.
Got it. Wow, man. If I was trying to handicap that competition, man, how would I do that? Hmm. But anyway, are the other competitors in town or?
Nope, they should be at their tribes, but
Yeah.
some of the elders have been meeting to plan the events, and
Were any of them here yesterday? I couldn't tell. I'm trying to figure out who's who here. Were any of them here yesterday during the feast and the day before?
not that I'm aware of,
Yeah.
but possibly.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be uncommon to have some outsiders here.
Well, I mean, look at me, right?
Well, you are you're a
I'm very outsider.
you're not a mountain.
No.
Yeah,
It's
you're
lovely
quite
up
rare.
here. It's lovely up here. Don't get me wrong. It's just not me.
I understand.
Yeah.
Drink a little bit more of that mountain milk, you might be, huh?
This is good stuff, right? And I clink his glass.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So I'll just do small talk at this point. Doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot more here that I'm going to get out of them. Just sort of making the gossip and just shooting the shit with the old guy for a little bit.
Yeah, you get the sense that the primary method by which other clansmen will come and go are either messengers or diplomats.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
Yeah. Basically, what the position that Nissa is training to be, one of those sort of traveling ass-kicking diplomats.
What was the line from Star Wars? Forceful diplomacy.
While I'm in the medical unit, I'll try to keep the people up with, so they're more calm, I'd say, I suppose.
Oh yeah, so you're kind of facilitating the role of like social worker as well.
Yeah.
Like crisis worker.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Flex your charm there, Charmy.
Yeah, that doesn't really work, but I'll try.
Do it. Trapper John can do it, I believe.
All right. Performance.
You can choose just something, whatever you think you might be doing, and you can flavor it however, with whichever skill you choose.
I think it would be performance because I'm not really good with the words. I'm not really that intelligent. Yay, intelligence. Yeah, I'll like.
Are you busting
try
out
to
the flute?
Yeah, I'll bust out the flute.
Nice.
The flute. Play it a little bit. Fuck yeah.
Jeez. Another 19.
Yeah.
So down in the hospice area of Grand Mist, we see there's like a receding camera shot, like a crane shot that's lifting up over the tribe. You see the clouds of fog sort of rolling over the darkened snowbanks and things like that. And throughout this scene, as the dawn slowly rises, is just the constant lively, jovial flute music in this sort of rockin' hospital tent.
That's not the right flute music. Damn it.
I play some of the Leviathan
Ooh.
tune.
All right. In that case, don't mind me. All right. Dawn arrives. Navik, did you get any sleep?
I think I probably did as much as I could until
Yeah.
I got really tired.
Yeah. Caleb, you prepared remove curse.
Yep.
Okay. And Ithis, did you prepare anything different?
Hold on, technical issues.
Okay.
Okay, say again.
Did you prepare any new spells for today?
Yes. So lesser restoration and what's it called? Remove curse.
Okay. All right. So between the two of you, how many remove curses can you cast?
Well, I should put my spell slots back up to full, right?
Oh yeah, let me hit party rest.
Party rest.
Hooray! I feel so
can
much
do
better.
2.
Let's see. Well, if we're talking higher spell slots, does that have higher spell slots or?
I don't know.
I don't think you can cast it.
Sometimes it adds additional targets, but I'm not sure if that's.
I mean, I assume you could. It just wouldn't do anything extra. I mean, would it have an effect? Would it still do the same thing, just not have a higher effect?
It doesn't say anything about it in the description.
Yeah, I think it might be static.
All right. Well, then in that case, 3.
Okay, so between both of you, we'll say 5.
Did I happen to see Shayla in the tent?
Yeah, I think she's probably there.
Yeah.
Sort of recovering. So who to remind me, because I didn't write it down. I'm pretty sure only one person failed the saving throw, right? Or you did you fail it, or did you succeeded but
I succeeded but took damage.
right, nobody else had eaten.
Right.
Yeah, he succeeded because of me.
Caleb was immune.
Yeah.
Right. I took like 20 something points of damage, but that
Right.
was it. You said.
Okay. Got it. So yeah, you resisted the curse basically,
Okay.
but still felt some of the cold damage. Okay, so between the two of you, I'm going to say that the most severe cases can be sort of resolved, and then with the use of auxiliary magic and things like that, you're able to at least stem the tide from the others. All said, there's probably only about 11 people who really got it bad, and 2 people died. They thought there was 3, but the other person managed to recover in the night. Through the use of your sort of other magic like heals and things like that. And I think early in the morning, Landslide didn't sleep last night, or at least he didn't return to the longhouse. I think all of you at the longhouse.
I probably collapsed. Went to sleep at in the infirmary area.
With the flute in his mouth.
It's like the flute's still there, and he's snoring into the flute.
Yeah, like
I can see
commercial. The commercial where the granddad's nose is playing music.
I can see
Somehow
that
it's still
happening.
entertaining. Yeah, Landslide will head over to the longhouse and collect whoever's there. For a council, basically, or a meeting in the Warriors Hall. and he'll go and grab Navik and the others from the medical tent. You all head over there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yep,
he's got basically the warriors' hall has been kind of like cleared away, and there's like a big long table in the center. And he says, "So the witnessing is in 3 days. We need to resolve this before then. Our messenger returned early this morning, having delivered the request for counsel. Fortunately, it does not seem as though Great Ursa understands what has taken place. So your theory may have been correct."
So, who are the diplomats that have been coming in over the past couple of weeks?
We had an elder from Great Ursa
Mm-hmm.
about a week ago.
Okay.
Prior
About,
to that,
say about 2 weeks ago. Any diplomats coming in?
I think I've seen all of the tribes in the last 2 weeks.
We're talking like 2 weeks ago when the buying was happening.
Oh, well, I saw the emissary from Slaughter Peak, as well as Splinter Pine and
Splinter
Zephyr.
Pine.
He spits.
Splinter Pine is Dinkelberg, as far as I'm concerned now.
And Newman
Yeah.
and Mandelbaum.
Handleball.
Okay. The other thing too was, and what did she say the person selling the weapons was?
Nissa had said that it was just like a yak folk trader.
Okay, it was a trader. Okay.
Yeah. And you met the yak folk
Right.
previously.
Right. I
Um,
totally swindled them. Made the chief look stupid. Okay. Does Splinter Pine have a person competing in the witnessing,
Of course.
Oh yeah.
and the other tribe too that you mentioned?
Oh yes, all of the tribes will have one nominee. Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Well,
So this doesn't change the fact that Solesk has slain the Great White Bear.
right.
I think I am going to meet with Great Ursa personally and deliver this news. I think we will own up for that. And Solesk will have to take responsibility.
Does animals like the great white bear, if they're a sacred, do they have a specific range that they stay towards, or do they just sort of wander freely?
They often stay close to the clan that sort of pays them the most honor and communicates the most with them, but all of the Godspurs are their home.
Okay, so it's not strange that the Great Ursa's sacred bear would be near your camp.
It's more strange that it was spotted. They're fairly elusive, but I have even seen the great beasts from time to time.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out maybe if Solesk was sort of not just in the right place at the right time, but put in the right place at the right time.
Possibly, if you find any evidence as such,
Yeah.
please let me know. But
Is Solesk awake, or is he still out cold?
when Navik left the medical tent with the with Caleb and Ithis. He was still there but recovering.
Okay.
So Landslide is basically he's getting out in front of the issue, in accordance with sort of his tribe's thing, and he's gonna go and sort of take responsibility for that. In the meantime, he says, he's like, I need you in the next 3 days to find out who did this, and I would start with, and he kind of like cringes up his face a little bit.
I know it's coming.
Splinter Pine.
I knew it.
But he says, but also we've been led down a few dead ends. Don't let my bias cloud your detective abilities, basically.
I don't even think they're necessarily dead ends.
Perhaps not. I wouldn't have thought Splinter Pine was this clever, but they've certainly confused things for us if they are responsible.
Who would be the clever ones?
Hang on, let me just check my sheet just so that I'm not leading you astray. So Zephyr are known for cunning.
That's right.
Their
that's
sort
what
of
it was.
main group, or sorry, their main specialty are rangers. Winterhook are their main sort of thing is skill, but they have like monks and brewing going for them. I think that's probably the main ones.
Okay.
Slaughter Peak, their tenet is brutality. They have a bunch of barbarians. Poisoning doesn't really seem like their style. They just as soon just like charge in and try and slaughter everyone,
Right.
which happens about once a year. In fact, I don't know if you even remember this, Jordan, but way back when you first sort of wrote the backstory for Navik, I imagine that the remember that story about Navik being basically the marathon man?
Yep.
Yeah, I imagine that was coming back from a from a Slaughter Peak engagement.
Okay, so I'll change the personality trait in here. I have, once I ran 25 miles without stopping to warn my clan of an approaching orc horde. I'd do it again if I had to.
Oh yeah, I forgot it said orc. You can keep it as orc if you want, but I think the it being the other clan probably fits better.
Splinter Pine horde.
Not Splinter Pine, sorry, that was Slaughter Peak.
Oop.
Yeah.
Slaughter Peak horde. Done.
All right, so he says, "Do you think you can do this before the 13th?"
We'll have to.
Okay. I'm going to travel to Great Ursa. I'm bringing Solesk with me. If you find the perpetrator or any other evidence before then, send a messenger. They'll get to me.
Where did he hunt the bear?
He'll give you sort of a map of the region.
Okay.
Yeah. It would have been so you'd be familiar with the hunting grounds. They're sort of a fairly common one. You kind of move hunting grounds depending on the season, so it makes sense that Solesk would have been in this area. So yeah, you know it well, and you could probably navigate there, no problem.
Okay.
All right, so Landslide kind of gets up, goes and tracks down Solisk, and him and a couple of others sort of head out of the valley, out to the overlook. And you are sort of left in the clan village to do whatever you wish. What are your next
Cool.
steps?
I don't really know what my next step would be. So,
Should we investigate where they hunted?
I was gonna say that is probably the most correct way. Correct?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, you could probably guide them there within 5 hours or so.
Okay.
And who would you like to? Is it just going to be you guys, or are you going to bring anyone else?
Should we bring anyone else? Is there anyone else we can bring?
Nissa?
Why would we want to bring Nissa?
I mean, she's still familiar with the area.
Probably
some-
more familiar with the area than me right now, since
Yeah.
I've been away.
Yeah, Nissa's not a hunter, so she wouldn't have been as sort of acquainted with the grounds as Navik would have been in his younger days, but she's not unuseful in terms of like a combat support if you're looking for it.
What about Hawkeye?
She is a ranger.
That would be helpful.
You can certainly sort of request her aid. Yeah.
This is probably her favorite terrain, even.
I think you're probably right.
That would be my guess.
Metagaming.
Yeah. No, I'm not above such things.
It turns out that her preferred enemy are spirit bears.
Dun, dun, dun.
Plot twist. It was
my
her all
God.
along.
What?
All right, let me just take a note here.
We take them both out, and it turns out it was their plot, and they kill all of us.
No, Hawkeye actually removes a sheet, and it turns out she's not Hawkeye, but in fact a giant eagle who hates bears.
It was Old Man Withers.
Yeah, she would have gotten away with it too.
And then the eagles bring the hobbits back down from the mountain. Oh, wrong
Yeah.
franchise. My bad.
And then you all go to Isengard.
Yay!
Taking the Hobbit.
All right, so you got the 5 of you and Hawkeye head out, probably along with like a group of hunters who are literally going here just to do their job for the day.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll be around, but they may not travel with you
Mhm.
directly. But yeah, you get there probably just afternoon. And so there's like a sort of rocky outcroppings of sort of like ice shelves and stone from the mountain, as well as like small patches of pine forest. And typically in these small pine forests is where animals will sort of find shelter for the night, and then they'll like sort of range from area to area.
Alright,
And
well-
Hawkeye can kind of like guide you into one of these areas. You can even have asked the hunters like where specifically the white bear was slain. They can take you to it, because it wouldn't have just been Solesk. They would have been
Yeah.
Solesk would have been
Would have
commanding.
been a party.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So I think you find sort of evidence. It hasn't snown much this week in this area either. So you can actually find the site of the battle in sort of this copse of trees where the snow is sort of like dredged through. It's like up to your it's up to Navik's knee. It's like up to Caleb's chest. I think Caleb has snowshoes though.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I think you bought those. Yeah, so you're
How
fine.
about everything?
Yeah, you're probably traveling better than the Goliaths are.
Woo!
He's
But
just
yeah,
he's floating above the snow. Just
yeah. You find the area. It looks like it was a long, drawn out, and bloody battle. There's sort of like red patches of snow all over the place, and you are at the scene. What would you like to do?
I'll see if there's any evidence of where the bear came from, I guess.
Okay, so you want to see sort of where the bear had come from before being engaged?
Yeah.
Sure. Make a, I guess, a survival check.
It's a 19. Oh, it's the wrong one.
Okay, so you find a lot of bear tracks, but you're having trouble pinning which direction they originated. If somebody wants to assist who is proficient in survival, we can roll again. Otherwise, it would be an individual roll for them.
It's probably only dices. I'm
not proficient.
proficient in what?
survival.
We know how well I survive.
Better than our last cleric.
Fair enough. Yes, I am proficient in survival.
Okay, so Navik, would you have? I know you two have basically tandem guided yourselves up the mountains.
Yeah.
Would you have sought her help here?
Yes, she was a ranger before.
Yeah,
I
so
probably
it makes
would have
sense we
helped.
s-
Would have asked what's
Wrong
the
button. Sorry.
She disappears, but you see her.
I am like Here you go. That's better.
Okay, yeah.
It's
Between the two,
also
of
She
What's
starts
her
singing
face?
Gloria Gaynor.
Hawkeye.
yeah, Hawkeye can roll as
Every
well.
time I hear Hawkeye, I just want the rest of the Avengers to show up,
Yeah, I know.
and then I'll just leave with Thor. It's like I'll see you guys later. Then
I'm just
Caleb would leave
old.
with
I think
Loki, and it'd be
Mash.
fine.
I'm thinking of Mash. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm old. I'm thinking MASH.
No, I'm thinking current
Especially with
Hawkeye, not
Trapper
that
John.
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye and Trapper John. It makes sense why I
It does.
went that way.
It's true. See, now that you've said that, now that's all I'm
Yeah.
gonna see.
Yeah.
I just got that. Oh my god.
Gru is slow of mind.
God damn it. I completely forgot about that show. All right. Well, we've come full circle. That was completely unintentional.
Good job.
It just goes to show that not all art is, or no art is created in a vacuum. So yeah, you guys managed to find the prince that sort of led here before it just turns to chaos and blood and snow. You can see that it's kind of hard to tell because the bear was so big. Like it's probably about 6 times larger than like a grizzly. However, based on the length of the strides, you would say that this bear was charging. You guys can kind of follow these tracks around through the woods and things like that. You see some like smaller saplings and things like that are just like destroyed. Like the bear just barreled through them.
So is charging away from something?
You're not sure if it was going away or towards, but it was definitely in full sprint, and for quite a while. Like, you imagine that this beast probably had pretty good stamina, but typically, I mean, bears are pretty meandering. They don't travel like like an elk herd or anything like that. So for it to have run this far for this long, or this fast, it's kind of strange. It was definitely motivated by something.
That's odd. I think we should continue going forward to see what it was going away from.
All right, so you track the footsteps
Trail.
to a cave. Outside of the cave, there are sort of mounds of offerings, things like fruit that doesn't normally exist in the Leviathans, like apples and things like that, which are sort of delicacies for Goliaths, sort of have been offered here. Some of them are, just pieces and bits of like apple seeds scattered around. There's melons, and then there's some other things that are native here, like small game and stuff like that. Clearly, whoever was sort of worshipping this animal would sort of leave offerings at the cave entrance. But it looks as though some of the things are relatively fresh and have clearly not been discovered by the bear whose gift they were.
Mm-hmm. Well, it makes sense for the net to be there.
Mhm.
Do I see any signs of disturbance as like it would try to get away from?
It looks like it's hard to tell because the footsteps kind of leave from sort of a rock stone floor of the cave into the snow, but it looks like it was running as it left the cave.
All right. Well, let's go into the cave.
You
Well,
know,
that's
I
it.
remember, John.
Anyone else has anything to say?
Nope.
I'll just roll along.
I'm gonna cast light on my staff.
Well, now.
Yep. I'll leave that rest as an exercise for the viewer.
All right. So what is that? The only light source, or?
I guess so. I'll put on my goggles.
I mean, I
I'm
have
not
dark
wasting.
vision
I'm
anyway,
not
but
wasting. Sorry, go ahead.
I've got dark vision anyway, but I'm just putting it on because I know others don't.
I'm not wasting a spell slot.
Oh, it's a cantrip for me. Ha ha!
Very fun.
Have my goggles on.
'Kay.
Just in case.
So you're heading into the cave. Are you guys being stealthy at all, or are you just traveling in?
That's up to you guys.
We can be stealthy if you want.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
We can try to be stealthy. If Caleb can't be stealthy, then we're just going to give up
I
being
mean,
stealthy.
I got snowshoes. I could probably be stealthy.
Yeah, because they're super quiet on stone floors of a cave.
Oh, fair enough.
Just grease up his skis
Yeah,
and then slowly
totally.
push him forward.
Yeah, we'll try to be stealthy. If we hear some non-stealthiness, then we'll just give up being stealthy.
Okay. So just for shits and giggles, because I think it's funny, Garrett is still in my macro for party stealth, and he just rolled a 33.
Sounds about right.
Supplies, motherfuckers.
So he stealthed so hard he's been out of the narrative retconned for a while.
That's funny. All right, so yeah, you guys sort of slink forward. and I'll get general perception checks from everyone.
Perception, you say? Yeah.
Typical.
Oh, damn.
Nice.
All right, so Dices and Minchinos, maybe it's because of your affinity towards the arcane arts, but you both spot sort of a strange arrangement of stones. If you were to just like walk by, you would just say that they are kind of scattered stones because it's a cave. But there's something about the arrangement of the stones. They're a little bit too uniform in size. And just beyond these stones, you can see what is obviously a well-used sort of den for a very large animal, and it is empty.
Can I tell anything about the pattern the stones are in?
The pattern appear to, like, if you're in like let's say you're in a big circular room coming off of a hallway, the stones appear to be sort of strewn across the mouth of the entryway to the den, and a little bit too uniformly, as though like if you were to sort of build a wall on the line that these stones create, it would perfectly encapsulate the room.
All right, so it's not like an arcane pattern. It's just it's just uniform.
It could be. You can give me an Arcana check if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just uniform.
Okay.
Or at the very least, by any magic you're familiar with.
Okay. Do I have it? Do I have it in this? I'm gonna cast a detect magic.
Okay. Concentration.
And then look around the room, sort of what I can see.
Okay, so the verbal component will break your stealth, but you're fine with that?
And it seems empty in here, right?
It does, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. So you cast the detect magic spell, and it seems as though the very air in here is sort of like glimmering with magic.
Can I tell the school or the type?
Yeah. It's, I think. Yeah, it's illusion.
So I'm gonna go quietly back over towards Caleb and Itha. Ask if either one of them has a dispel magic.
Hold on.
Not to cast yet, but just so you have it.
I don't believe.
I don't have
Okay.
mine prepared. No.
Okay, that's fine. Does it look like? Can I tell if there's this is sort of an ambient magic?
It's sort of an ambient magic sphere within the den, but now that it's sort of illuminated to your eyes, I think it's only illuminated for you, right? Not the party.
Right. Yeah. No, it's just me.
Okay. It appears to stop where the stones are scattered. So it's almost like it's contained within the den.
Okay.
I'll inquire with Michinos. Is like, what do you see?
I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna walk over. Guy, cover me. I'm gonna walk over and I'm gonna step into the stone ring.
Okay. make a wisdom saving throw.
God damn it.
That's where you're a Viking.
It is not.
Remember, you get a +2.
Am I still near him? At least within 5 feet? 10 feet? 10 feet?
10 feet, yes. 5 feet, no.
Let me check.
Wait, what? No, never mind. I remember.
Why do
now.
I have a +2?
10 feet, so you have a +2.
Okay. So 15.
15 total. All right. As you step through the barrier into this sort of cloud of illusion magic, you immediately see Ippolito standing in front of you, sort of just smiling, and two glints of arcane energy kind of spark in his hands. And a voice kind of penetrates into your mind that doesn't come from his mouth. It is something else. It is a crackling, burning voice. And it says, "I see you." And your compulsion is to get the fuck out of this cave. So effectively, you are feared from the man standing in this cave, and you just burn your entire movement to like blast out of this cave as fast as you can.
Can I try to tackle him?
Yeah, if you want.
All right. What would that be? Would that be athletics or a dexterity?
It depends. Well, if it's a grapple, then it's just athletics versus his athletics or acrobatics.
Okay.
Dun, dun, oh.
I saw the 19. I was like, dang. Oh.
So yeah, Minchinos takes a step across the pebbles and stops, and you guys see him kind of stand upright, and then he takes a step back and bolts past you. Navik, you kind of stick your arm out as he's like running full tilt, and you kind of just like hook him. And Minchinos, this asshole is, as far as you know, like in league with this, with Ippolito in there.
So I'm gonna Misty Step.
Okay.
With who?
You don't see anything.
I know, but who is it?
You have no idea who this
Out
is.
of-
Actually.
Okay.
I think
Out of-
actually
out of
Navik does
character-
know who this is.
Out of character, it was the warlock that I met with about Neuro. While you were busy ransacking his magic shop.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You've seen his
Okay.
face, but you probably don't remember.
No.
You were very busy.
I was very busy.
All right, yeah. You had him, and then you
Bam.
didn't have him. Like Wayne
So
Gretzky,
do I go
had
with him
lost it.
because I'm in contact with him?
Nope.
Okay.
Let him run.
Yeah, so Minchinos tears off out into the snow. While that's happening, does anyone in the party want to do anything?
So we
After seeing that?
don't. We basically see him go. He stands still and he starts bolting out. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am confused.
So do I get to roll a saving throw every 6 seconds still?
Yeah, you will.
Okay.
All right. I'm confused. That's my action because I've already tried to grapple him, so I can't
And then
do
he's
anything
gone.
else. Yeah.
All right.
I grappled him. He left away, so I can't do anything anymore.
Caleb, you see sort of Minchinos just like take off after stepping into the den. Is there anything he's doing?
And there's nothing visible in that den, right?
Doesn't look like it, no. Seems empty. You saw, just before he ran, you saw Minchinos cast a spell.
No, that was the detect magic. Then he asked about the spell magic.
Yeah, he came back and asked about dispel magic and went back in.
Right.
Because we asked what he saw, and he's like, 1 moment, and then he just ran away screaming.
Yeah, because you cast it and then stepped across the barrier, right?
Well, I cast it, saw the cloud of illusion magic, asked them if they had dispel ready, and then said, "Let me take a look at this." And then I
Right.
stepped over.
Did you tell them that or I guess
I
it's
said,
kind of inferred,
well,
but
I said, "I'm not sure what I see. I'm going to take a look."
got it. Okay. So yeah, that's the information you guys would have then.
And then I bamfed. It's a shame you didn't do damage. I would have hellish rebuked you.
I don't
Uh,
try to do damage to my party members. I don't.
Whatever. I'll shrug and I'll just walk right in.
Okay, give me a wisdom saving throw. Ooh. As soon as you step across, I don't even know if you noticed you didn't notice the stones, but as soon
Nope.
as you cross that threshold, you feel something sort of invade your mind, and just for a moment, you see like a flash of the Dracolich that you fought earlier in your youth. Not the one you killed, not a Pathra, but the one whose scale you have for the a shield, and it's even more immense than you remember. But it's off. It can't be real. That's not the right one. And then as soon as you sort of make that logical connection, it fades. And you're aware that you were the target of a sort of ambient spell effect.
Okay. And I'm assuming by understanding that it's still there, I can't get rid of it.
You know it's there. You would have to do like either Arcana or Investigation to find its source.
Okay. Considering Machinos ran out of here like the bat out of hell, I'm assuming stealth is kind of off the table now.
Yes.
Okay. I will turn back and inform the others of some kind of magical, I guess, field as you step in. So be warned. And I will go and try and look for said source. Little crevice.
If this source is magical and fears, could the bear have been affected by it?
That
Seems
makes sense.
plausible.
So how's that wisdom save going for you now?
Yeah, it's probably been about 6 seconds.
Yeah, Minchinos, do you want to make a save again?
Okay.
You keep running.
I was like, you're definitely not near me anymore, so.
You keep running, and not only that, but your sort of the reptilian brain is starting to like compete for control. And you want to keep running, but you also want to like stand and fight. And at the moment, neither side is sort of dominating, but you think it could switch over at any moment.
Cool.
Of course, this isn't like a cognitive sort of
Mm-hmm.
just an explanation of what's happening.
Yep.
Yeah, Ash, don't worry about it. We can
No
wrap
worries.
it up here in a second. So yeah, Caleb can give me. Well, I guess you can choose. You can do perception, investigation, or Arcana, depending on sort of the method you want to understand what's happening here.
I mean, perception is better by 1, but I don't feel it would affect what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm trying to find a magical essence, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so Arcana might be able to determine what is going on, specifically in terms of spell usage or maybe how it's connected to everything. Investigation might try to deduce what you're seeing in terms of like its practical application, and then perception. If there is a physical object somewhere that it is sort of emanating from, you would spot it using perception.
Okay. No.
Yeah, it's just a lot of like sort of stinky bear bed straw.
Well, if there is something here, we definitely don't want to get rid of it just for something spook it out of there. So we have evidence of happenings.
Yeah. Minchinos, go ahead and make a wisdom save.
Getting worse.
Oh, jeez.
All right, so go ahead and roll me a d2.
There you go.
You fly into a rage. Like
Ooh.
you're sick of running. That motherfucker Ippolito is gonna die.
So now that I'm raging, am I immune to fear? No.
So yeah, so you are technically no longer feared, but you
Alright.
are still sort of like driven by this spell, and you want to. You're basically lashing out at the first thing you see. At the moment, you don't see anyone.
Fucking tree!
Yeah, if you want to set fire to the tree, you're welcome.
Welcome to the Pyro Club.
Yeah.
Yep. Miss and burn another tree.
Yep.
Yeah, a pine tree goes up in flames.
Good.
What you don't know, that was a sacred pine tree.
Splinter pine!
Yeah. Cinder pine now. You. All right, so the rest of you in the cave, Caleb is kind of digging around in the bear den. Is there what are the intentions? So you've at least Caleb has sort of identified that there is clearly a spell, mind altering spell. Awesome. A mind altering spell that has been placed in the cave, the source of which is currently unknown, and the sort of the reasoning is unknown, although I'm sure you've got theories. Is your intent to continue investigating here, or do you feel like you've got enough?
Well, I won't be able to do anything really to help with this since I'm not a magic user.
Yeah, I'm assuming the deduction is that somebody or someone set some kind of magic spell here to fear said bear out of its den in order to get it into an area where Solask was to possibly find it.
That seems like a fair theory. Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I'll leave the den area and relay my thoughts to the remainder of the group since it seems Anginos has gone back to town. There you go, with firebolt.
You think you hear yelling and
Explosions.
By fire be purged. Too soon, Executus.
Too soon.
But yeah, and then I'll just proceed out and be like, Minchinos, are you okay?
And with that, Minchinos, give me one more wisdom save.
She should have saved that one. That roll. Nice.
Yep.
So you see something that is not a tree, and your desire is to kill it. And I think we'll end the session there.
Nice.
Oh dear.
And we'll take a 2-week break. 3-week break.
1 week break. We can be back the following Friday. Like we're back the following Thursday, so the following Friday should be okay.
Yeah. So 2 weeks from now.
Okay, so the 15th.
Don't feel obliged to if you guys are exhausted. I know travel like that.
We should
Can
be
take it.
fine. I mean, in that case, we might be wide awake at this time.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jet lag.
But yeah, we'll let you know. We're home. We should be back in Kitchener by like sometime in the
Right
afternoon
now
on Thursday.
it's 8:23 a.m.
Yep.
in Dubai.
Great.
Oh,
Morning.
Good.
Yeah,
Thanks everybody for watching. As you probably heard, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time, hopefully. Till then, take care.